Schtick Show.
How's it, everybody? We are the Joy Schtick Show. Your three favorite friends from Hawaii are back to talk story about the latest things we've read, watched, or played. We'll share our shtick with you, so thanks for sticking around. If you fancy what you hear, please like and subscribe on the platform you frequent. I'm your co-host Drake. That's Thomas.
Drake's a scroll. He has no arms. What's up? What's up?
And that's Scott.
I thought you were gonna say something.
Oh man!
You're just like you're.
If I'm a scroll, I can't acknowledge that I don't have arms.
Watch us on YouTube.
Hey,
I was gonna say something that he started moving, and I was like, "Oh, I'll let him finish his."
Yeah. I thought your words were gonna come out, but then
I was doing my nonverbals. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, if you're not following us on YouTube, we've started a YouTube. You can see Drake's non-arms moving in case of the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird because his shirt is green if you're not watching, but his arms aren't green and his arms are disappearing and his shirt is staying on screen. So I don't understand how it's working, but
reverse green screen going on.
Yeah.
My right arm is a scroll, but the rest of my body is human being. So.
Oh, there you go. Well, we are back. We're back with our new kind of format. Every week, we're going to be doing about 5, max 6 episodes. We're shortening them down. If there's something that you don't hear from us in the future that you think we should be watching or reading or playing, and you want us to talk about it, message us on all the socials. We're on Instagram, Twitter, now on Threads, the new Twitter of Instagram. We're on Threads as well, and we're on YouTube.
The Twitter of Instagram.
very nice.
That's right. So, yeah. Also, we're not going to be talking about Indiana Jones 5 tonight. None of us have watched it yet. I believe we're planning to hopefully some point before next week, and then we'll review it then. But as right now, none of us have watched it. And, I don't know. Any thoughts on that?
We just get into ChatGPT and ask it to review it for us real quick.
It only goes back to 2021. So,
Oh, dang it.
Yeah, you can ask it about Crystal Skulls.
Predictions.
Dang it.
Predictions, yeah.
Predictions.
Definitely. Our first bit of news, we have Superman and Lois casting. Scott, take it away.
Superman and Lois casting. So we have the casting for the Superman and Lois. So we have David Coren Sweat as Superman and Rachel Brosnahan. I hope I'm not butchering these names as Lois. Both very great actors and both very difficult names for me to say. Not their problem, it's my problem. I got to get over it. But they're both really good actors, and I think I'm happy about it. He's supposed to be a young Superman, and he looks like he could do that well. So until I see more, like a trailer or teaser or whatnot, I can't really say anything other than I'm looking forward to seeing what they do.
Totally. I like this fact. They are that greatest height distance, I think that makes sense, between Superman and Lois ever. So he's 6'4", I want to say, or 6'5", and she's 5'3".
So he's dunking on her all day.
All day, yeah.
All day.
She ain't got a chance.
No, she's going to get swatted.
Absolutely. So, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, has that never happened before? Where Lois is, because even in the DC animated universe, Lois is always like at least a head shorter than Superman.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna look weird. Hopefully not. I don't know. They're gonna figure it out. I'm sure if they can make
Tom Cruise giant.
Yeah.
What was
Tom Cruise
Kristen
giant
Crook
or-
and in the original Smallville? Was their height distance crazy too? We'd have to Google that.
Yeah,
I
that
think.
guy was tall. I don't remember what his name is either, but he was pretty tall, and I think she was
Brandon
pretty short.
Routh, was that his name?
Brandon Routh was the other one before Henry Cavill, and he was only in one movie.
Oh,
And then he
interesting.
came back for, so I don't know, interesting. We're getting way too off topic about their height.
Oh, sorry.
But,
Like we need to find out.
yeah, I don't know if that matters nearly as much as can he play Superman? Can she play Lois Lane? And I love Marvelous Miss Maisel. If you have not gone back and watched the final season, it is so damn good. Like, she's phenomenal in it. I watched a little bit of Hollywood that Christina was watching it, and David Cornsweet was in there, and he's really good. Like, he has this classic American look and sound to him. So I think he's going to be good. I don't know though. Like, I don't take him super seriously yet, and maybe that's okay because I don't know, but I'd like to
Yeah.
see him suited up, and after he's been working out for 6 months and in the suit, I think he has a little bit more to prove to me as an actor than she does, but I've never really thought of her as like Lois Lane. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting dynamic, but I do love her as an actress. So it's kind of cool. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about them as far as like how they look with the character?
I feel like Bronze Sweat definitely has that like
Did you just combine both their names?
yeah,
Yeah.
David
you might as well.
Sweat and Bronze
Oh,
Sweat?
Bronze
okay.
Sweat, dude.
I thought it was a
That's them.
mistake, but
Oh, I see.
No.
Okay, that was
Yeah,
purposeful.
yeah.
Okay, okay.
Bronze
hey,
Sweat.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, in that, David kind of has that like I kind of hope he reprises that mustache a little bit. He looks so defined, like you said, Tom. A great like OG American style
So they
in
can
his
edit it
face.
out. in the
Yeah,
movie.
but
Just like the
just like
Justice League.
yeah. But he's got a great jawline. I think he's Henry Cavill reminiscent, so I think that's not too far off. Obviously, I mean, this could be a breakout role for him in terms of being able to show off his acting chops and working alongside Rachel. Rachel has so much, I think, clout from Marvelous Miss Maisel. So
Mhm.
I think maybe they just end up doing a great job, just like how we've seen some of the newer characters in the Disney Plus Marvel series kind of breakout stars. Maybe this is their time to shine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I got a lot of faith in James Gunn. So, especially like he's got so much involvement in this project. Like, I'm trusting that he feels that they are the two best people to lead it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
we'll
I
see
think
though.
so. Yeah, he has that look. He definitely has like the endearing, you want to root for him, classic American boy look. So, yeah, I think it'll be good. Time will tell, but happy that we got our Superman Lois. Now we just need to see who Lex Luthor is, and yeah, who knows? But I think he's gonna do a great job.
Yeah,
Drake, you sent something over to us this weekend, and it came
Yep.
out of the Anime Expo in Anaheim, and it's pretty dope. It's kind of mixing two things that I think, really like, and it's called Suicide Squad Isekai. And it basically, I guess Isekai stands for like other world, but basically it's a Suicide Squad anime. It looks dope. What
Super
did you
dope.
think of it?
I mean, I think I don't. We've only seen, I think, like a Batman Samurai situation in anime type versions. I know we've
Mhm.
seen a lot of Marvel in anime, but I think this genre splitting really hits hard. And what I mean by that is you get all the nostalgia of like watching anime, your old school animes, but then you have the kind of like the Americanized characters that we have grown to know and love. Like I would love to see Japanese animation for something like Avatar, right? But sticking to the DC situation, DC's animated situation has always been super fantastic, and to add, I think this style of art is going to bring it even further. Hopefully, it doesn't take too much away from the DC MU that hopefully James Gunn can reinvigorate. But I think in terms of the story play, Suicide Squad was a really great starting point, just because you're not starting with characters that we've seen consistently. The Suicide Squad, even though they have had tons of games and movies redone, they're a bunch of characters that you can love, and also too what they get to do is not necessarily superhero-esque, right? So it can be down, dirty, and gritty, and I think anime really gets down with that.
Down
But
dirty
what?
and gritty.
Yeah, what did you guys think about it?
Yeah. Put that on a headline, man. Down dirty and gritty. Yeah,
DDG.
I agree. I agree on a lot what you said. Like it looks like it's gonna be crazy. And as we know, like some anime like Chainsaw Man, like you take all the violence and the blood and like the creepiness and craziness of Chainsaw Man and you bring like the Suicide Squad in, like that's gonna be sick. I
Yeah.
think also the director was saying that was really weird. He had this interesting way of describing Harley Quinn, and he was like, I really wanted her to like be really cute. And I think the modeling is there, but she's also like she looks pretty unhinged in this as well.
Murderous,
And
yeah.
yeah, and I like that. Yeah, what about you, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, I think it looks really cool. I'm definitely always down for anything in anime format. I feel like we get a lot more detail in fighting scenes, especially. Um, I really do like the DC movies and Marvel movies, but when they are like, I don't know if they're like made in America or like whoever they send them to, when it's not like Japanese animation, like their animation is like to such a high level now. It's like
Yeah.
when you watch anything else, you can kind of just, it's like watching like an old Pixar movie. Like it just looks
Mhm.
dated. Like the
Yeah.
technology
Yeah.
and skill is not there yet. And Japan's like right, top of the line. So I'm definitely down for that. And if it's anything like even like Cyberpunk or anything like that was amazing as well. So
Yeah,
Would
definitely.
you?
Real quick, this was also made by a studio, Wit Studio, that also did Spy Family. So if you like the
Oh,
animation in Spy
oh
Family,
yeah, I
you're
do.
gonna dig
interesting.
this. Yeah, sorry, Drake.
No, no, no. I was gonna say, would you? So imagine that like these graphic novels, mega giants like Marvel and DC did. I wouldn't say one-offs, but limited runs of animes, not only just in their comic books, but also in their movies. I just feel like there's a market there for collectors, for hardcore DC slash anime fans, or Marvel fans, comic book fans as a whole, to kind of have these genres kind of come together and create an amalgamation that not only that can you enjoy, but then you can have like a piece of history from, especially if they start using iconic anime, either directors or illustrators, et cetera, et cetera. Like, would you buy into those as a collector, as a lover of graphic novels?
Uh, Fuck yeah.
Okay.
And like, it's with all of what's going on in DC and Marvel of multiverse, there's no reason why they can't do anime versions of them. Like,
Yeah.
there's no reason. Well, we even got to see it in Across the Spider Verse. There was an anime or like the Japanese Spider Man that was in it. So it's like,
Mhm.
why can't? Of course they could do that. Like, totally. I mean, isekai literally means like other world. So like, we can bring and I think the story of how this anime is going to go is bringing the Suicide Squad into this world, the Isekai world. And it's like we could do that for Marvel. Like they should totally. It should have been what if was. I didn't care for what if, but I think it was. I think if it was more like that, I would have dug it more. Where you're like, this is just way out of there, and like the animation, I couldn't tell if it was supposed to be for kids. And there's Pixar, but then there's zombies and people are getting eaten. It just like I couldn't gel it together. It just didn't work for me. But in anime form, hell yeah, bring that on.
Yeah, yeah.
Sick.
Agreed.
Okay, well, somebody who's listening, pick that shit up, make a ton of money, and then hashtag us in it.
Hey, perfect. I'll take it.
I got it from here. All right, let's get into. We're moving right along. Let's get into some reviews. And Drake, you got to see Jennifer Lawrence's new movie, which is a little bit of a departure from what she normally does. The
Yeah.
movie's called No Hard Feelings. Why don't you tell us about it?
So first and foremost, Jennifer Lawrence, right? Obviously, we've all seen her in certain things.
Hmm.
I just want to start off by saying that No Hard Feelings was extremely, for me, reminiscent of The Girl Next Door with Alicia Cuthbert. Kind of the
Oh,
same
okay.
sort of, young kid trying to come into his own. And then you have this kind of more seasoned female protagonist who's kind of in a world of their own, and they've got kind of their own situation going on, but they're coming together to kind of help each other grow as human beings. No Hard Feelings is less the romantic, I guess, coming together of like relationship physically, as much as it is as the actual title of No Hard Feelings being they, are it's more so on a friend basis, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So less like
Hmm.
Stifler's mom and more like, becoming friends.
Yeah, like it's not it's atypical in the sense that, you would assume that they would just like hook up and then they, have a long living relationship where they're like, dating each other, and that's not necessarily the case here, which was a nice departure. But at the same point in time, uh, when you look into the movie in itself, there's tons of just straight up cringy moments because you essentially have this older woman, Jennifer Lawrence, who is trying
Yeah, that old
to
hag.
yeah,
Kidding.
she's like, what is she, like 58 now?
Yeah,
She's still younger
yeah.
than us.
She's probably like, yeah, she's probably younger than
I think
us.
she's like
Let's be
Yeah,
30
real.
something,
yeah, she's
like
super.
younger.
Yeah.
And so this newer actor, um, Andrew, I believe his name is Andrew Barth Feldman.
Andrew
He's
Barth.
kind of like that young, enclosed, like teen character. He's getting up into his 1920s. He's going off to college, and she's essentially trying to court him because she needs a vehicle because she lost her vehicle, and the parents are trying to essentially sell their son's not virginity, but like pushing him out of his boundary and out of his comfort zone so that Jennifer Lawrence steps into that role so that she can get that car, right? And then all the shenanigans kind of go on, and she's really trying hard to essentially just fuck this kid. And she's noticing how that action is not the person that she is because how he's reacting is like genuine. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to take you out on a date, or let's have a conversation, or I want to get to know you, et cetera, et cetera. So that was a very interesting departure from, I guess, the typical kind of shows or movies that we do see. But
Mm.
some of the cringy moments were just
Yeah.
thirst trapping as hard as she can for this young, nerdy dude that's supposed to be going to Princeton.
Is it
Also,
funny though? Like when you're
Yeah, was
talking
it
cringy,
funny
is it
cringy?
like yeah, like you're like oh, haha, are you like like yeah, I
the
don't
some of the cringy parts were like, gosh darn, like if this was happening to me, I definitely wouldn't like it. At other points in time, very, very funny.
okay. All right.
But the tropes are we've seen all the tropes already, right? Like accidentally getting hit when you didn't expect to, or taking drugs when you shouldn't have, and it kind of chaos ensues. Finding out what the behind story was to why we're having these interactions, and was anything real, like those things were familiar tropes that we've continued to see. The ending obviously was a stray from that. I will say, if you have like a moment, definitely give it a watch. I mean, full frontal nudity is what I can say. And you haven't seen that since Red Sparrow, right? And
what do you grade it?
if
Talking about Jennifer Lawrence, right?
Jennifer Lawrence, right? Not the
Oh,
movie, right?
not the movie. No,
No,
no.
no,
Yeah,
like
No, I was just
her.
kidding. Yeah.
She
I
got
actually meant the
nude.
movie, but yeah.
yeah. I
But
would
give
I
Not
us
the
a
would
dude.
yeah,
I would
give
Okay.
us
give
a
it,
grade on the full frontal. Why not?
yeah, full frontal. I'd give it two C's. Heyo.
I get it.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
get it.
But that also too was like a stray from, because it wasn't like a sexy, right? It was in that situation, it wasn't meant to be sexy. It was meant to be raw, and that was
Mm,
interesting to see, because in all the other ideas of kind of nudity within movies, it's always about like being revealed or being vulnerable,
and like
or
enticing.
yeah, in a sexual way. But this was just a moment of nudity that was outside of that norm.
Hmm.
Mm.
So that was interesting. So there's a lot of tropes that are broken. There's a lot of tropes that continue to go. I don't think it's like changing the movies, diaspora, but it is one of the highest grossing R-rated comedies that Jennifer Lawrence has been in. So
Nice. I don't know
can't say
what
no to
other
that.
R-rated comedy she's been in, but
I want to
it's good to know.
say
Silver
Silver
Linings Play.
Linings
Does that
Playbook.
count as a comedy?
I
Maybe.
got I want to dramedy.
Yeah.
I know Winter's Bone was a comedy, right?
So funny that
So
movie. Check it out if you haven't, guys. Go rent it. No, just joking. It's a drama. It's heavy. How do you rate this? And like, do you think it's a good addition to like bringing R-rated comedies back, like into theaters? Like,
like the
is it like a
machine did? Oh yeah.
Oh man, I don't know that I would have gone to watch this in the movie theater. And it's because I don't necessarily view Jennifer Lawrence as like a draw anymore, and also too, um,
Damn, hot take.
yeah, and a newer Andrew Barth Feldman. I mean, this is supposed to be an American quote unquote sex comedy by Gene
Mhm.
Stupinski. But I mean, when you think about the other quote unquote sex comedies that we have, like Sex Drive or Euro Trip or whatever, whatever, like those were very like 90s, early 2000s.
Mhm.
Uh,
I think if she's out of your league.
yeah, like those were in that time, like in its prime. Now it's kind of antiquated. To see it kind of brought up in this way is interesting, but it not game changing. I don't think it is the genre, but it's not so much so where it's not a cult classic for me, if that makes sense.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough. No hard feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Overall letter grade for it though, would you say 2 C's?
I would say 2 C's.
All right. Solid C.
53.2 million at the box office.
Wow, not
Wow.
bad. Almost
Not
as
bad.
much as
Good.
Indiana Jones, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, you got a good cast. Matthew Broderick is in it.
Oh, he is? Matthew
yeah.
Broderick in it? Well, lead with that next time.
Yeah, Hassan Minaj is in it.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah,
the dude
that's
from
awesome.
the Bear, the Ibon Mas Bakrak.
Oh yeah. He's in that as well too.
He's the one who plays the cousin in the Bear, and he's also in Andor. That guy.
Damn. He's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kyle
He's good.
Mooney's
I
in
really
it
like
too. That was kind of a weird one, but
Oh, really?
yeah. It was seeing him in there kind of threw it off a little bit because it kind of whenever you see an SNL,
You're like, oh, that's Kyle Mooney.
yeah, you think, oh, is this an SNL comedy? So I kind of threw it off a little bit, but it was fine. It worked well.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right on.
Nailed it.
Oh,
All right,
cool.
switching gears. We got The Bear season 2. It
The Bear.
My God. This movie for me, this
Whoa.
show.
It was like a movie.
Whoa.
I'm only
It was
2 episodes
like
in,
a
so
movie,
no
'cause I-
That's better as a
spoilers.
series though, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, no spoilers. No spoilers on this one. Scott hasn't watched it. Drake, you haven't watched it. For me, I'm gonna say top 3 show of the year. It's I don't know if it's first or third, but it's a top 3 for me. I love this show so damn much. The acting, the writing, the pacing, the tension, everything about this show is so damn good. I love it. I love season 1, and I know Drake, coming from a culinary background, it could be a little tense. I've
Yeah.
talked to somebody at a 4th of July party yesterday, and they were like, "Yeah, it's a little bit too triggering for me as a chef." I'm like, "I got it," and I could see that because the tension's in there, like a spy drama, like I don't know, like a Mission Impossible or something crazy. Like you feel like the walls are closing in around you.
Mhm.
But man, is it so good. And the way they kind of work through their issues, and it just goes in this crazy direction. And the penultimate episode makes you feel like things are all going to be good. And then it may or may not be as good as you think in the last episode. And
That's
yeah.
interesting. Just based on what you said there, because I only saw the first 2 episodes,
So you want me to spoil it?
and
Can I spoil it?
yeah,
I'll spoil it.
they
I'll
all
just
die.
say it
Okay,
right
cool,
now.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. No, based on like the ending of the first season, you're like, holy crap! Like, yes, it ends on such a high note. They take that same ending and they start the new season with that. All of a sudden, it means not as good. Like, it's funny how they took that same thing and you're like, wow, all the anxiety's back. Nothing changed, although everything seemed like it changed. And I'm like, fuck, they did it again. Like, I'm right back in it. Like,
Right.
they do such a good job of spinning it. Like, like that. Because if you watch the season finale, they get a bunch of money and
Yeah.
it starts with, we need more money. Like, it's like,
Yes.
you think they're out of the hole and then you're like, we're in a fucking big hole. And you're just like, fuck. Like, there's nothing can go their way, it seems. But it's locked me in again. So I can't wait to finish this.
Totally. Yeah, you're like, how could they take that super high where they finished season 1? How do they turn that into a whole new season? And you're like, oh wait, that wasn't as important or as bright as I thought it was. Like
Yeah.
there's still a bunch of shit that could go wrong, and then it does. And then you start realizing, yeah, like some of these issues, like we couldn't show you all of what these people have to go through in one season. Like
Yeah.
it's so grounded in that way. Like, like we could go to therapy, we work on ourselves, we could do all these things, but it doesn't mean we're going to be a different person overnight. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
Cousin's going to be different. Doesn't mean, all of a sudden the cooks who are in the kitchen all of a sudden are top level chefs. And Drake, to your point of, we were talking offline about, like, if you look at a restaurant as purely a source of money, that may not be the best way to go about it. There's probably better ways to go about making money. And I think this does an amazing job of showing you that no, it's not the best way to make money. But if that's what you do and that's what you're good at and that's what you dedicated your life to, yeah, maybe you have to drive towards it, even if life is falling down around you, you still may have to go towards that. It's crazy.
Right.
It's good. Yeah, it's really good. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I could say anything else besides that. Otherwise, I'm going to spoil a lot. But there's some funny moments in it. I'm like, Beef's up there. The Bear season 2, and I gotta think one other show is definitely up there for me, but it's kind of knocked into that top 3, and it's gonna be hard for another show this year to dethrone it. So I'll just leave it at that.
I know we're gonna get into something that's very similar to this, but if you could have a similar show to The Bear, whether or not it's drama or comedy or whatever, what other profession would you like to see
Dude,
intimated?
I think this should be the hypothetical of the week. Not gonna lie.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Let's
was saying
just
just
go.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is now the
Moving on.
hypothetical of the week. We also,
That's a good
I'm
one.
guessing, we'll revisit The Bear, next week or a few other weeks from now, and kind of talk full spoilers on it. But that's a good question, because what I like about The Bear is it's pretty, until I lived with you, Drake, for a little bit, until I saw what your profession was about, I didn't quite get how tough it could be. And I didn't quite understand how stressful, and you would tell me some things work and you're like, yeah, and at that time I was flying planes and I'm like, yeah, maybe not the same. But after seeing this and like matching it with what you used to tell me, I'm like, oh, I get it. That's stressful. That's nerve-wracking. The only thing I can compare it to, maybe, again, yeah, like flying planes is its own thing, but it's like, remember ER? Remember how ER at the time like seemed so stressful, and like it had that drama, and like every week was a new problem and a new thing to figure out, and then you have the personalities in it all. Like, I'm trying to think of a job like that. So if you guys have any thoughts, take it away while I think.
Yeah, I
about
mean that's the thing. That's the first thing I was thinking of, because I work at a hospital. Like, well, we have a lot of those kind of shows too. Like, there's ones that are like it's super fun, like Scrubs. It's a good time, and then there's
Right.
ones that are like super out there, like, oh my god, like he has a super rare condition. House is like, I got it by the end of the hour. But we have like a huge range of that. But working in a hospital, I can honestly say like there are moments where it's so stressful. So it's hard for me to think of something else at the moment. But like you're saying with the anything you watch on food that isn't The Bear, it's always like glamorized. Like you're like, oh, just come to, oh, this guy's so good at making this pizza, or oh, this guy, and it just seems like, wow, they followed their dream and they opened a restaurant and it worked out for them. Like, and they never show like the shit they go through. Maybe they're not making any money. Maybe they have a star, but they like live in like a studio apartment and are barely making rent. Like, so this show does a really good job of that. I'm trying to imagine another job that is maybe glamorized on like in shows. That is actually like really not the case in reality.
I got one.
What's that?
Drake, wait, before I go, Drake, do you have one?
Yeah, I
posed
got
the
one off the
question.
top of the dome.
Nail it.
So I've always wanted to write, or at least like get into having a not dramedy, but like a comedy-esque about
You son of a bitch.
dentistry.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Wow, that was a total French tilt.
Okay, curveball there.
Okay, so think about this, right?
Okay, wait,
I was over here
let me
crossing out his thing
Yeah,
you wrote
yeah,
down.
exactly. I was like, I better think of something else. Okay, because I was gonna literally say a rise of a comedian. So anyway, sorry.
Oh,
No, when you were
okay,
going
so
down, I was like, whoa, we were on the same wavelength. Tell me about dentistry.
Okay, so think about this. Whenever you go to the dentist, right, what happens? You wait in the waiting room. There's a bunch of different styles of people, kids, adults, old people. And then you have the people who are working the front desk who are always kind of cheery, but there's always that one person who's kind of like gritty and like doesn't want to be there because maybe they didn't have their coffee. And then you have the different styles of dentists, the kind of cool laid back one, the one that's super about like, why aren't you flossing? And the one who's always trying to upsell you on some, some dental shit. And then there was this one moment at the dentist a while ago where I thought this would be so fucking hilarious, where they're flossing your teeth, right? And they're telling you how important it is, and you're thinking in your brain like, wow, they're barely getting in that situation. They're just kind of putting it in, taking it out, and all the while they're asking you questions, and you're trying to answer it, and you're like, and they kind of like are continuing that conversation because they kind of are making out what you're saying, but not really. And then you're starting to build bonds with them, and so kind of like a Cheers vibe, right? Where you have the mainstay of characters that work there, the one consistent person who's always fucking up their teeth, right?
Yeah.
And always there. And then you have kind of the individuals who are coming back time after time. And imagine now if those are cameos from other bigger actors like a
Yeah,
Brad Pitt or
comedians.
Angelina Jolie, comedians, etc., etc. Like I think that would be really hilarious because dentistry is kind of it's a healthcare thing, but
Right.
not really.
Everybody needs it.
Everybody needs
Everybody
it.
goes to it.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody has a bad dentist story. Dude,
They're not
I like it.
doctors,
They're not
but
doctors.
But also, what's
Yeah.
interesting is like they have a high suicide rate.
That should,
So there's like
okay, that shouldn't be
Yep,
funny,
here
but
we
it
go.
wasn't again. Not
so it's a
expecting you to say
comedy,
that.
and then it's like you hear about Harold,
yeah.
Yeah.
and then you know,
Dead,
and then it
dude.
goes on a dark turn. Then it's like the bear, where it keeps
Yeah. There you
That
go.
corner
No, it's-
dentistry? Yeah, that guy's gone.
the whole corner.
Yeah.
Fucking gone, dude.
Fuck, yeah.
No, but yeah, and then but I heard from a coworker at the hospital, they're saying like she actually brought that up. She's like, yeah, man, they have like a high suicide rate, but she's like, but they throw like the best parties. I guess because they're always stressed out. So when they let loose, they fucking let loose,
Yeah.
which is
Hell
kind of
yeah.
interesting too. So that could be in the show too. Maybe like dentist parties are like
Hey,
Yeah.
bigger
if any
ragers than like
dentists or dental assistants are listening to this episode, holler at us. We want to come to your Christmas party.
Yeah, duh.
Like, we want to come and just hang out and hear the dirty deets, and then we'll turn it into a show.
And we know there won't be candy,
Yeah.
but we hope there will be.
yeah.
It'll be sugar free.
Oh, dang. Aspartame.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, I don't think I could top it. Mine was just gonna be, obviously if it's a story about a comedian and I want to see the rise of a famous comedian. Like we've seen shows about like the rise and fall or somebody who was at the top and they fell and they try to rise again. But I want to see someone who's like young, definitely funny, maybe like a young actor, and they're trying to get to be, one of the biggest comedians in the world. And we slowly see them sleeping on couches, taking any gig they can, eating ramen, like, barely scraping by, and then they're practicing
Getting
new
screwed
jokes,
by like the clubs, the little shit
Yeah,
clubs they're
yeah.
playing at.
trying new jokes. Nobody laughs. Like I want to see that kind of stuff, and then it keeps going. Like you kind of get in Hacks, but she's already a star, and then she falls,
Yeah.
and then she like rises again. But like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to see someone who's like they've never done it before,
Struggle
but
bus.
struggle bus,
Yeah.
and they know this is their dream. I guess the bear is he's at the top and then he has to come back down. But anyways, I want to see it from the bottom, working his way up to the top, and then maybe like season 2 or 3, they
Yeah.
fall from the top somehow. Maybe they get addicted to drugs or whatever. They have to come home and take care of a parent. I don't know, and then they have to like build it back up once that happens. So that's the
That
show
would be
I
good.
want to see.
That is something that I like hearing in comedy podcasts, like when they start reminiscing on like the beginning times,
Yeah.
or like even that, like you're saying, like out of nowhere you'll hear about a comedian you followed for a long time. They're like, yeah, I've been taking care of my sick mother for 10 years or something. You're like, whoa, you've been like, your job is to be happy and make people laugh, but you're also dealing with this like really stressful thing outside of doing that. Like that's
Yeah.
gotta be insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only thing I can think of is like people following their artistic dreams, I guess, like that, like maybe in the same regard, like a musician or
Yeah.
something, and it'd be like a really similar story.
Totally. In a
But,
way, in a way, the bear has a lot of that artistry in it. So
Yeah.
it's so good. I want all these shows to be made. I definitely want to see a show in a dentist's office now. I think you sold me on that.
Yeah.
That actually sounds pretty funny. And yeah, it's just entertaining. Why has that not been done? I feel like everybody can relate to it. It's like a show that takes place in a DMV. DMV suck. Everybody
Yeah.
hates the DMV, but you got to do it. Oh man, like I think those things would work in the right hands with the right writing team. Pay your writers, WGA. I think you would.
Yeah.
You would. We'd get some great stuff out of it.
I agree.
All right, nice. I like it. A little impromptu hypothetical of the week. Definitely not what we had planned, but you know what? It worked for next week, and you'll have to tune in next week if you want to hear what that hypothetical is about. So we're moving on to another review. Scott, you watched something that just came out on Netflix, and I really dug this. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so it's an animated feature, PG on Netflix. It just came out. It's called Nimona, and it focuses on this like shapeshifter character named Nimona, and she's basically like Beast Boy, but can also transform into Beast Boy and Mystique in one almost. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, if you can think of and she can change on a whim. The art style is really cool. It's like kind of cel shaded, and it's got that 3D blend. So I feel like they're able to do more with the money. I feel like because it doesn't need to look like as detailed as it needs to with the cell shading, but they can still do a lot with it.
Yeah.
Which it came out looking really nice.
I thought there was a lot of similarities when you get to the Across the Spider-Verse world, the Miguel world. It kind of had a little bit of that feel to it in a way. Like the animation is just beautiful.
Yeah, really beautiful. And the story itself is great too. Like going into it based on the trailer, I thought I kind of predicted what. Yeah, I was like, this is gonna be like one of these tropes of this and that.
Exactly.
But it was like an interesting. You're following this guy who came from nothing, got a chance to kind of be trained up to maybe be a knight one day, but he's not of royal blood, and he's the only dude that's been accepted to this, and this is going to be a big thing. Like if he gets knighted, then that means like people who aren't, who are outside of like the upper class can become, like can join that upper class and all that stuff.
I'm guessing spoiler alert.
Yeah, so spoiler alert, because I mean, this is kind of the whole movie, right?
Turn away now. Skip ahead like 15 minutes if you want to hear Secret Invasion.
Yep. Here we go. So what happens is this character is about to be knighted, and he gets knighted, and then his sword, something's wrong with his sword. It ends up killing the queen, and then everyone's like, "This motherfucker, like he killed the queen, like fuck him." So everyone's after him, and then this Nimona character, sees this. What is it? There's like a time skip, right? Like 10 years.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't even know that.
I think there was like
because he gets his arm cut off to disarm him or whatever. I didn't catch the time skip, but some amount of time because he's able to make like a Luke Skywalker arm.
Yeah, he like built his own robot arm and stuff. Yeah, which was pretty cool. And then this character Nimona finds him, and she's basically like, I want to be your sidekick, and I know what you want to do. You want to get revenge, and I'm going to help you do that. So this is my plan. She drew pictures of her as like different animals, like killing people and like blood and stuff. She's like, it transfers to this. We're going to kill everyone. It's going to be great.
Something, and then it works. Right?
Yeah. She's like, which is really fun. Like she's like this little full of energy type of fierce character. You find out she
like a punk rock chick too.
She's like, oh, it's so metal. So like, metal. Yeah. Like, which is like, not what I expected when I saw the trailer. I thought I don't know. I thought she'd just be like the more cutesy. I can transform and whatnot.
Totally.
But she was actually like
be so dark.
Yeah, she was the driving factor. She's like he like gets himself into a situation by doing the right thing, and then like he gets locked up for it, and then she's like, I'm here to break you out, let's do this, and then like causes a whole bunch of ruckus, but they get out, and she's like, I saved you, and everything's blown up. Like it's like a lot of that stuff. But then they form a bond, and I don't want to ruin too much of it, I guess, but I'd say like this movie like really surprised me, and it was a lot better than I was already looking forward to, but it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be, like just because it was original, I'd say.
Yes.
I couldn't totally predict everything that was going to happen, which was really nice. So.
Yeah, definitely. Super original story. I like they have this mix of like medieval times and then future city. Yes. So like people have iPads and like flying cars or like electric cars, but then they fight with swords and like crossbows. And then like the whole idea and the principle of having a knight to protect them from the monsters is very much there, and the honor, and it's about our roles. Like, so all of that's there, but like with modern technology in a way. It's really cool how they blended it together. And we've been seeing a lot of success in animation with sequels, especially like Across the Spider-Verse, but this was so original. It was so well done, so well voice acted, and it was just like funny. Like, I literally like laughed out loud a few times. I'm like, God damn! Like I did not expect it to be this funny. Like she's just crazy, She's like, we could kill them all, and he's like, whoa, because he's a knight. He's about the honor and protecting the kingdom and upholding the right things. And she just comes in there like a demon, and the friendship is It's unlikely. He doesn't want to do the wrong thing, but he slowly starts seeing her way, and he stops seeing her as a monster, and she starts seeing like somebody else could actually care about her as a monster, if you will.
Yeah, it's slowly kind of revealing like, like how did she become the thing she is, or like what is her thing, like what made her get on this path, and then there's points in it where you think it's going to be revealed, and then they, whatever, but. It's yeah, it's just a really good story. Like,
Good story.
yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, Chloe Grace Moretz plays Nimona.
Mhm.
Riz Ahmed, who I love. I always love Riz Ahmed because of The Sound of Metal, and also Rogue One. He plays like the main knight in it, and Chloe Grace Moretz does like an amazing job. I was like, who played Nimona? And
Yeah.
yeah, Chloe Grace Moretz I was not a fan of her when she was younger, and like I didn't care for her acting. In the last couple of things I've seen her in, like she's killed it. Whether it was The Peripheral or this, she's been crushing it. And
Kick
yeah,
ass. Sorry,
Kick
that
Ass.
was
That's true. She was awesome, Kick Ass.
yeah.
Yeah, I stand corrected, but yeah,
Poker
awesome
House.
cast. Really, what was it?
So the Poker House was a movie that she did with Jennifer Lawrence, and she was young at the point in time.
Oh, we're back
Was it
on Jennifer
good?
Lawrence, huh?
Yeah, we're back on Jennifer Lawrence. No, but so it's a good movie. It's a good movie. So essentially,
Yeah.
I believe you.
just watch. Watch it. There you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
Moving
Hey,
on.
speaking of SNL though, Beck Bennett is in this Drake,
Oh
and he
yeah,
plays
yeah.
like a side character, and that character is actually pretty hilarious.
Oh, hilarious.
He's you know what character that is, Tom? He's the dude that's like, he's like, oh, you thought I was gonna be nice to you? He's like, you hear that, everyone? This guy thought I was
Oh
gonna be nice to him.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and then like throughout the thing, it's like he's kind of that cliche douchebag, but then the lines are actually kind of funny. Like,
Yeah, he kills
I
it
think
on the
I feel like
delivery.
Beck Bennett. I could see him like going in, maybe rewriting things, or like
Yeah,
it's
like, do you
felt
mind
like
if I
his
try
voice.
this?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was
a
pretty
lot of
hilarious.
the voice actors in it felt like their voice. So it was like that was
Yeah.
cool. I mean, same thing with Across the Spider-Verse too. Like I keep comparing them because I want to put this up at a higher level so people take this movie seriously
That's true.
too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I was a little skeptical, and about half an hour in, I was like, I'm just gonna put it on, and I was like, no. And then I slowly stopped like looking at my phone, stopped doing things around the house, and was just watching Nimona. I was like, this is an awesome show. So
Yeah.
yeah, I can't speak highly enough about it. It was really great. I definitely recommend some people, everybody to watch it. What about you?
Yeah. Watch it.
Yeah, you want to give a grade, Scott?
And watch that Poker House movie.
Yeah.
Great.
Poker Face.
Poker Face House.
No hard feelings, apparently.
Yeah, I'd say
Well,
it was like a 8, maybe 8 out of 10. It was like
oh,
pretty
nice.
good.
We're going
Yeah.
numbers for
8
letters
out
now.
of 10.
Okay, cool.
Oh, we did letters?
Cool. We were doing
Yeah,
letters,
do
but
letters.
yeah.
A, B, C, D, E, or
Yeah, you can get
F.
apparently you give 2 letters.
Yeah, 2 letters.
It ain't.
Yeah. Change the 8 into a letter, and then
A
that's
standing up
that
infinity
one.
sign.
A B.
Yeah. Right on.
But B
Okay, we
sounds
don't-
bad. But yeah.
Scott doesn't know grades. All right, let's move on.
Oh, 5
folks.
strawberries.
Oh wow, that's a deep
Call
cut.
back.
That is a deep cut.
Jinx.
You got to go back to a single-digit episode to understand that reference. All right, we're going moving on to the finale of the show and the big meat and potatoes. We are talking about Secret Invasion, episodes 1 through 3. We haven't had a chance to talk to it.
Yeah.
What am I
Talking
trying to
the
say?
Scrolls.
We haven't had a chance to
Give it
talk
a
about
letter
it.
number.
Yeah, infinity upwards. That's just an 8. But we haven't had a chance to talk about it, and we've got a lot to catch up on. Drake, do you want to take it away on what you thought about the first 2 episodes, and then we'll kind of dive into a little bit more on episode 3.
I going into the first episode, I think coming into that AI generated beginning, I know we talked about it a little bit more. I thought more on it as I was watching the first 2 episodes, and I really think it kind of helps set the tone for the series. Not just because of the art, but also because it's AI generated, because it feels other, and that's kind of what Secret Invasion is. I did in the first couple episodes, you get kind of the Nick Fury back, and you got to get to see like what's happening with the Skrulls and kind of the quote unquote invasion that's happening, and it unravels itself pretty easily. I'd like to see, I think, a little bit more of the emotional depths that Nick Fury had to go through. I think it was episode 1 and 2, you kind of get a nice like appetizer about it, but I feel like it needs to go deeper for me to really like invest.
Yeah.
I think viewing Gravik as well, having seen some of his background and then into episode 2 getting a little bit more of his intentions. I need to see more from him as well too, just because he's kind of a newer character for us in terms of viewership.
Yeah,
And then
I'd say, man, check and check if for
Yeah.
episode 3 for you.
Okay, sick. And then more into what is going behind the scenes where they're trying to take that DNA from more individual or those different styles of people and animals and things as such to kind of further along their quote unquote invasion.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of series, Marvel series that we've seen on Disney Plus so far, it's a little bit darker, a little bit more spy crafty, kind of like what we saw with Andor, which I think is on par. Maybe they're going through like a spy renaissance right now. It's a little bit more dark in tones. I mean, we lose characters straight off the bat, like straight up murders in a Disney, series. And I think that I'd like the departure into kind of like that, again, that spy craft, nitty gritty type situation. So, from what I've seen in the first 2 episodes, if they're going to hit on that in episode 3, to which we'll touch on right now, then
We're
you're,
about to touch on it.
yeah, we're about to touch the tip
So long.
or get deep onto the thing. But yeah, hit me with numero tres so I can kind of get it on it.
Okay. Yeah, that threw me off a little bit.
Sorry, sorry.
Yeah.
Like Spanish.
It was like, is this good Spanish or bad? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Wait, before you break down the episode,
yeah,
I do have to say I'm really liking Kingsley Benadir and
Yeah.
Ben Mendelsohn. Like
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
they're
yeah,
like
yeah,
two of my
for sure.
favorite people to watch in this show. Like I was when they first mentioned the cast, I figured Amelia Clark was gonna be like more of a draw for me, but like she's kind
Right.
of secondary. She's great, but like I'm really like loving seeing these two in scenes, and like I'm like, wow, these are great. Of course,
Yeah.
Samuel Jackson, but
Yeah, I had a feeling. I know Ben Mendelsohn from obviously a bunch of different things. I mean, he was in
Mhm.
Star Wars. He was in The Outsider on HBO, which was a limited series. So damn good. He's like the main actor in it. He's been an actor for a long time, so I knew he was going to be solid. And I knew Kingsley Benadir was going to be solid too because there's this movie called One Night in Miami. It's like a fictional telling of Sam Cooke, Muhammad Ali,
oh, that's right.
and like a couple other really prominent
Cassius
like
Clay, et
black
cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
just legends. And yeah, it was like this fictional story of what happens. They all got stuck in a hotel one
Yeah, he
night.
plays Malcolm X, right?
Yeah, and he plays Malcolm X, and he's so damn good at it. And I was like, yeah, he's gonna be
That's
awesome.
right.
So I knew he had those chops. And yeah, man, episode 3 really brought it home for me on Gravik. He's just, I mean, what was it, episode 2 where he was going in and he was just like wiping everybody out in the meat locker? In
Yeah.
like yeah, he was a savage in there. I thought that
Mhm.
was dope. I hope his character's around a lot longer post this series to see him just like wreak havoc on people. Havoc,
Yeah.
Gravik. But like,
Wow.
he's,
Works
See,
for
I
the
was like,
name.
yeah, I was like,
Whoa.
oh, okay. Then
He's like,
maybe
it
that's,
rhymes with havoc.
All
I
right,
think it's a pretty good
Shakespeare.
name.
yeah, I mean, it's right there. I didn't come up with that. But yeah, he's so damn good. And in episode 3, there's a speech between him and Talos where they go to the museum, and there's a painting, and it's a painting of all these like World War One congressmen or statesmen in the UK. And he's telling Talos, he's like, see these guys? He's like, I don't want to ever be these guys. You know, the fat guys who like sit around and they just smile and they pose for paintings. And he's like, I'm a soldier. Like, I want to pay for history in blood, not in ink and paint, but like in blood every single day. And that line was so sick, so savage. Then they go into the dining hall, and then we get to see the thing from the trailer where Talos grabs him and he stands up, and then everybody around him turns into Gravik. It just works so well. Their back and forth is awesome. I'm loving that. The other one I'm loving is Talos and Nick Fury together.
Yeah.
They just seem
Oh,
like friends that have gone back like through hell together, and they've seen each other at their worst. And if you watch Captain Marvel, you truly see where they start and where they meet each other,
Yeah.
and then and then you fast forward 30 years and it's like boom, here they are. Here, you
Yeah, their
looking for
chemistry
this?
is
Just
great.
throw a roadie saying in there, but the chemistry's fire.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it is.
sorry.
Bop, bop, bop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like their little
so
bickering and stuff back and forth. Like it's yeah, I'm glad we get to see more of them. Like
totally.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, so good. I wanted to touch on something you said in the beginning, Drake, on the AI art because it's something we haven't been able to discuss. And I was going around the internet, and people were making such a big deal about it. I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts are about the AI art being used for the intro. Like Drake, it seems like you didn't really have a problem with it.
I only have a problem with it because we have like a multitude of talented artists, up and coming artists that could have potentially gotten their start or continue their legacy in building, a Secret Invasion intro. At the same point in time, I think that's kind of par for the course, the norm. I didn't have too much of a problem with it just because it was very easy to recognize that this was something that wasn't, I, for lack of a better term, natural, right?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It was very atypical. It was very like when you see Nightmare Before Christmas for the first time, and you're like, wow, this is different. That's how I
Yeah.
felt when I watched that intro. I was like, this is different. I can see how these lines and these striations are making me feel uncomfortable because it's not the typical illustration I would see. And so it
Hmm.
brought me into that mode of secrecy and invasion, right?
Yeah.
It made
Mm-hmm.
me feel, it made me ready to view what I was viewing, if that made sense.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I agree with that. I think the only downside to it was that AI made it and no one got paid when they could have got paid for it. But I really did like the constant moving, the constant because I mean they're scrolls, they shapeshift.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really think about it until Drake was saying like, "Oh, I get it because it's like it's otherly, like otherworldly." And I guess in a sense, it's he says Talos is talking to Nick Fury about like he's like every big event that happened, like we had something to do with it. Like you didn't do it. Like the Skrulls did it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's kind of like this. Like it's an intro you think people would make, but AI did it. So it's kind
Yeah.
of like in that sense, it was like that too. But yeah, I really dug it. It's just unfortunate that I get it. I only got paid for it, but I really dug it.
So I did pull up an article, and I would just say my first reaction to it was like, "Oh, this is really cool." And then I saw all the, yeah, they could have hired artists, and like this is what the Writers Guild is striking for because they don't want AI to take over their jobs. Like
Right.
I totally get that. And then I like looked into it more because the director has said, "Hey, we did pay a studio to create this with AI art." And then this is a quote from The Verge, which it says it involved a tremendous effort by talented art directors, animators, proficient in both 2D and 3D, artists, and developers who employed conventional techniques to craft all the other aspects of the project. Method Studios said, however, it is crucial to emphasize that while AI components provided optimal results, AI is just one tool among the array of tool sets our artists used. No artist jobs were replaced by incorporating these new tools. Instead, they complemented and assisted our creative teams. So, like, I don't know if that's true, and it could just be Method Studios spitting facts, but they've worked on the intros for a bunch of other Marvel projects.
Hmm.
And I just wanted to throw that out there because I thought that was interesting. And again, maybe that's false. Maybe they could have hired other artists to do this. But yeah, I thought it was interesting the aspect of like, this is a tool we use and people still had to oversee it, but it wasn't like, it didn't create the whole thing by itself. So
Yeah, I mean
yeah,
that helps. I think. Like,
yeah. But I don't know if
yeah,
it's too little, too late. Like I think the damage was already done because they didn't. I don't know if they should have got ahead of it or not. But yeah, interesting thing because now we're seeing AI is becoming this discussion, and now it's rolling over into our media, and it's starting to create some of our media, which is interesting. So yeah, I
yeah.
was just curious on your guys' take on that.
I akin it
Yeah.
to how, so for example, I work in essentially like the delivery industry now. And you're seeing a lot of these products wrapped in orange paper, and it's a big thing now called Temu.
Mm-hmm. The Limu
T-E-M-U.
Emu.
Yeah, it's like a emu but with a T. And essentially, a lot of these products are like directly sourced from the manufacturer, but the manufacturer in itself is like a different country, and they're inexpensive, and it can be directly gotten to your house, and that's completely fine. But I think it takes away from the idea of the bespoke, the craftsmanship, the industry into which it prefaces, right? So if illustration moving forward is a hard fought, long term, skill based, industry, and then all of a sudden you're having AI, which is basing its availability off of every other illustrator ever, and then amalgamating it into its own quote unquote singular thing. It's almost to a degree akin to like reducing it to a single word, right? So like a broad stroke, almost like deculturizing the industry of illustration from a certain perspective. I'm not trying to make an argument for whatever, but it is, even though it is an innovation, you can also say that it's a homogenization.
And that was Ethics on AI by Drake.
Yes,
I
101.
was like, what? I'm sorry, that was so deep. I almost got lost for a second, but I do agree with you. But that was pretty deep, my man. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to the show itself. And I think that some of the other things that are great is I think that we're getting some of the best world building from a Marvel thing we've seen in a long time. I did not expect there to be 1,000,000 scrolls on the Earth, and just seeing, we haven't even seen how far they can go. Like, I know one of them's a prime minister, but it's like how far embedded into every part of the government superhero team are they actually? And do you guys have any theories on who you think is a Skrull? The obvious one out there right now is that Rhodey is. Everybody and their grandma on the internet is saying Rhodey's a Skrull. And I think so. I mean, just the way he was acting.
The way he's talking to Nick Fury, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it was like, and
no
that
respect.
conversation was
No
so damn
respect.
good. But
Yeah.
it was also like, why is Rhodey coming at Fury like that? Like, that's
Right.
a
Wouldn't
little bit
Fury
much.
know though, having been around the scrolls for so long? I would make the argument that he would know.
But has he been around Rhodey so long? And also, when has Rhodey become a Skrull? Like, has Rhodey, since we've known him, has he been a Skrull? Then he would have never known because he could have been a Skrull the whole time. You
Yeah,
know, it's like,
how early on did they get him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
say Julia Louis-Dreyfus is a scroll.
all right, maybe. I think that we could see a version of a Skrull for her, but I don't think that she, as Valentina de Allegra de Fontaine, or however you say it, is a Skrull. And the reason is because at the end of the Secret Invasion comics, Valentina is basically Norman Osborn. And when the Avengers goes down, he steps up and brings the Dark Avengers in. And I think she's going to step up and then bring the Thunderbolts in, which we know we're getting that movie next year. So that's my theory.
Oh,
So
I
I
see.
don't
Okay.
I don't know if she's going to be a Skrull, but I guess we could see a version of her as a Skrull.
Yeah,
You guys
yeah.
have any other theories or thoughts maybe on who else could be? Because when let's see, what was it? Maria Hill got shot. I was like, Skrull, no way that she's gonna die. And then she didn't turn green, and I was like, what?
I was like,
Fuck,
whoa.
Yeah, I know.
I was looking forward to see more of her. And like,
Cody
she's
Smulders.
dead already.
I
Frick.
know.
I know.
Yeah.
It hooked me
Um,
though. I was
They
like,
killed
damn.
all of
It
our
did.
favorite agents
And she
already.
got killed by her like hero and her, her father figure esque in a way. Not necessarily her father figure, but like her boss who she cared about.
Yeah.
And that's
know?
the thing too. Like, you see that, and I'm like, I hope she knows like it wasn't him.
It
Like,
wasn't-
even though it's a
yeah.
character, I'm like, no, like,
I
because it
know,
looked
I
like
know.
she
That's
was
what I
really
thought, too.
betrayed. Like, oh, this whole time, how could you? I'm like,
Yeah.
no, it wasn't him.
Yeah,
And I was like,
yeah.
yeah, they fucking got me.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. It was interesting when Don Cheadle or James or Rhodes was like mentioning about like, oh, should we call in the team or whatever? And Nick Fury's like, no, because once we get them involved, then they're gonna start like pretending to be superheroes, and we're gonna be led down this one, So then I was just on that path. I was like, oh shoot, like they're trying to nip it in the bud before it gets there.
Which is
I was like,
smart. So you don't have
Yeah.
to bring in all the different people who can be the actors in the Avengers. Like from a writing standpoint,
From a rating
or like,
standpoint, it's good.
yeah,
And
it
then
makes
for
sense.
their standpoint too, right? It's like if they're gonna pretend to be heroes, let's let them do that first. Let's not give them that idea or whatever.
Right.
They did mention the Super Scrolls, and
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how they incorporate that because the comics they Super Scrolls like they kind of mirror like the Fantastic Four's powers, right?
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
interested to see what they do in this.
Yeah, I think they did a good job of creating a super scroll blueprint of the Fantastic Four without having the Fantastic Four. And so you have Groot, who kind of can stretch like Mr. Fantastic. We've seen Extremis, and he uses it in this, but also like in Iron Man 3, Extremis soldiers are like blown up. They're like explosive, kind of like Johnny Storm. Then we get Cull Obsidian, who Wong cuts off his hand in Infinity War. He's scaly, tough exterior, super strong, like the Thing. And then the oddball is Sue Storm, Invisible Woman. Well, we don't have it, so they did a Frost Beast. Like if you look at the computer in episode 2, and she's looking at
Yeah.
all these things, there's Frost Beast on there from Thor: The Dark World at the end.
Oh,
And
I gotta go
so
back and take a better look at that. Oh, okay.
yeah. So, because I was looking to see, like, because as soon as I saw on the computer and they were talking about this is the machine that's going to make us super, I was like, what's the basis here? And then I looked at, yeah, and the theories are online. He stretches like Groot, much like a super scroll from the comics, stretched like Mr. Fantastic. So, I really liked what they did because they found things that were in the MCU, like the Fantastic Four, without having the Fantastic Four. Really smart. I thought that
Yeah,
was
that
good.
is smart.
Yeah. So yeah, agreed with you. I want to see more Olivia Colman. I want Amelia Clark to have like more. Like right now, she's moving the story along in different ways, but I don't care about her character. Sorry, Drake. Spoiler on this one,
Ooh,
but I
full
don't think
frontal?
she's
Okay.
dead.
Yeah.
Oh,
You got to go back
Yeah.
to Game of Thrones for that.
oh yeah, true.
But she gets shot, and it's kind of leading like she died, but I don't think she's dead at
Yeah,
all.
definitely
Yeah, because
not.
she's
I
so
mean,
smart. She could just be like, "Oh, I shot. Better transform back into a scroll. You think
Yeah.
I'm dead?"
Yeah,
Like,
or even if it like knocks her out enough for her to transform back into a scroll, it's like they're
yeah,
not
maybe
gonna
she has
kill
like
her
a
off
sedative,
randomly.
like tooth she bites on, and it's like she knocks out.
Now we're getting into like classic spy stuff.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
talking
so-
about, dude. That's what I want to see.
There you
classic
go.
spy
there you go.
stuff.
She puts on a mustache. Yeah, she
She
gets
better
Like
rock a
Pink
mustache.
Panther.
yeah, she puts on a fedora and a mustache.
Hilarious.
Who's this young gentleman? Oh, it's like she could transform, but instead she just puts on a mustache.
Yeah, she jumps on two kids' shoulders under a trench coat. She's good everywhere. But
Dude, that's totally the type of scroll I'd be. I'm like, dude, you could just be the guy, and I'm like, I'm gonna be like a not very good version of this guy.
right. You're like the Little
comedy.
Rascals version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you split your body into two bodies? Like two
Yeah.
people standing on each other? It's one body.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
I'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out. No doubt about it. Or you and just a mini scroll just combined together.
Yeah.
Mini
Amazing.
scroll in a mini skirt.
Ooh. Hot?
Maybe.
Can a mini scroll
Maybe.
transform into a big person?
Wait, what do you mean?
Because when they transform, like Amelia Clark at one point transforms into like an old man, which is taller than her. So
Oh,
Good point.
that's interesting.
Good. All good questions. The last
these are
bit
the
of
things we
thing-
want answered. So sorry, go.
they have to be answered by the end of this series. The last thing I thought was interesting, and this is my only thing about the show, which is similar in a weird way to the Joker. When we got the Joker movie, it was like it was amazing. That movie is fantastic. But I'm like,
Right.
who was asking for this? Like I don't know if I need more from Nick Fury. And Drake, you were saying you want to see more emotional stakes, and I think we get that in episode 3 because we meet his wife.
Oh,
And she's a fantastic actress. She's a great character. But I'm like, I don't know if I want to see more of this from Nick Fury. How did you feel, Scott, about the surprise, he's got a wife, and she's a
You
scroll.
know, I I kind of like it. Like I like seeing more Nick Fury. So um maybe in the same sense, like so while I'm watching the show, I'm also thinking Samuel Jackson as the actor. And
Mm,
I'm like, man, I like the way he delivers his lines. He's one of those actors who like delivers his lines his way, like an Al Pacino or Nick Cage or something. And
yeah.
some of these actors eventually like you start character like they start turning into like a caricature of
Mm,
themselves almost.
yeah.
And like Samuel Jackson still it still works. Like the way he's
Yeah.
like, all right, like I can just picture him throwing in some motherfuckers in the middle of his thing. Like, all right, motherfucker, tell me what you want to do. Or like, and I'm like, it still
Yeah.
works. Like, and I still enjoy
Right.
that. And then seeing that side, like with his wife and everything, I think it was good because we always just see Nick Cage as like the dude that's like he's either there and he's got the plan or he's just fucking gone and no one knows where he is. And I'm like, it's nice to know he has a life outside of this, and
Yeah.
it's kind of cool to
Oh,
see
yeah.
a bit of it. Um,
That's a good point.
so yeah, at least for me, I thought that was kind of cool. I'm like, okay, he actually has like because it always seems like he can trust no one
Hmm.
and he's always off the grid and like he actually has
Yeah.
someone.
He
So
has a
I thought that was nice.
podcast. He has all that stuff.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
has a
yeah.
podcast
On
for sure,
Saber,
dude. Yeah.
the Saber Weekly,
Yeah.
the Saber Experience. Uh,
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know
The
if we needed it,
lightsaber.
but
Okay.
I like it.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, you're right. Like, it is good, and he is one of those actors who could just deliver it his way, and it always works. Like, someone said it best. I mean, Frank said this to me earlier, and I don't know if he came up with it, but we're getting very much like Samuel L. Jackson from Pulp Fiction. And like he has
Mm.
that Pulp Fiction. It's not like Nick Fury from the MCU, really. It's like Nick Fury from Pulp Fiction, and I'm here for it. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's crushing it. Him and Ben Mendelsohn together. Him and the wife are awesome. Him and everybody really, but Ben Mendelsohn and everybody too. Just
Mhm.
all around stellar cast. Yeah. Any other final thoughts on Secret Invasion? Ooh. This is the last thing for me.
Yeah, cool.
I need to figure out why. I need to have this answered. Why didn't they find them a new home in 30 years? Like, they need to tell me why they weren't able to do that before the show ends. Otherwise, I'm going to be super irritated because at the end of Captain Marvel, Fury specifically says, like, me and Captain Marvel are going to find you guys a new home. And then she flies off with the Skrulls. And then it's 30 years later, and they still haven't found them a home. And I know he blipped for 5 years and all that, but that still doesn't explain the 25 years he was around and didn't find them anything.
I think
why?
I think inflation.
And
Yeah.
there's probably a
Damn you,
lot of like
Obama.
uninhabitable planets out there, and they're like, fuck, I thought this would be easier. It's like
Yeah.
Earth and their planet right now.
Mm.
I don't know.
Right.
Like, no, but it's true. Like, she's flying around space. If anyone should have maybe gotten like some sort of hint or something on when they're gonna go, like,
Yeah. Like
I mean,
a
Green
maybe, yeah.
Lantern would definitely have found a planet already.
yeah.
Right. So, all right. Well, that's the only thing that's on my mind. Yeah. I don't know. Any other like final thoughts or closing statements about Secret Invasion?
I don't know necessarily about Secret Invasion, but it is parallel. So Kingsley Ben-Adir is closer to us than we even know because he was also in World War Z.
Oh yeah.
He will be in Barbie, and he will also be playing Bob Marley in a biopic coming out
Oh,
in
sick.
2024.
Okay, I can't wait for that. But I saw a post of him in the Barbie font. You know how everybody had like the Barbie backgrounds and like this
yeah, yeah.
Barbie is so and so, like
Yeah.
this Barbie's a doctor. And I saw one where it was like, this Ken is definitely a scroll. It's like him and
That's
Mahalo
hilarious.
with like thumbs up, and yeah,
shit.
I can't wait for that. He's
That's
coming up.
hilarious.
I love to see it. He's a great actor.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that, yeah, thanks everybody for joining us. We are back with our new format, regular episodes every week. Again, follow us on the socials. We are new on Threads. It's going to be a time. If you've been looking for the anti-Elon Twitter, Threads is for you. We're going to be active on there. And if you can, watch this on YouTube. Go and subscribe. We'll be posting it also on the socials. It's Joy Schtick Show, and hit us up. All right. Any other final thoughts?
the best genist should be the spokesperson for Threads.
Nailed
Go
it.
out there and rent Poker Face House and enjoy yourself. And I'll see you next week.
On that note,
Yeah. Watch Poker Face.
thanks for sticking it with us.
The Joy Schtick Show.